Time for Bomber Banter. Now over to Fiona.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bomber Banter. Long time no talk. The more I do this, the more I feel like the time in between chats gets. So that's kind of scaring me for when football ends. But anyway, welcome to a special edition tonight that I have and am bringing to you. I certainly feel like there needs to be a bit of light and happiness and joy coming to the lives of Essendon fans, because I know a lot of us, speaking to a lot of Essendon fans, I know a lot of us are not deriving much joy from attending the football or watching our seniors at the moment, for whatever reason that you may believe that is. And so tonight we are going to, well, firstly, we're not going to start off in a super pleasant way, because we're going to go through Essendon's current deficiencies. And yes, that might take a while, but no, I've narrowed it down. We've narrowed it down to the main ones and some of our priorities. And then we're going to go through thoroughly some of the kiddos in the draft who we think could help us with those deficiencies. So there are people who know the draft, and then there is the guest that I have joining me tonight. He is a self-proclaimed draft nerd. I think he goes to sleep thinking about the draft and the facts. He's the kind of guy that when he talks, you just want to listen, and you cannot get enough of him. So please welcome Felix from Everything Essendon.
Hello, how is everyone? How are you, Fiona?
I'm doing very well. And you?
I'm fantastic. I'm good, yeah.
I better get you to say your famous welcome line before I get in trouble. I've had a few people request it, so please go ahead and do it.
Sorry, yeah. G'day, Bomber fans. G'day, Bomber fans.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, I have had a few people who have said that that's their favourite. Well, their second favourite thing about listening to all your content is that little special intro that is just very special to you. So thank you so much for joining me, and hello everybody in the chat. Thank you all for being here. Moby, thank you so much as always. That's a wonderful way to start the show. I know we've got Shaky Snake and Steve, who's disappointed me already, going with the soft tacos, not the hard, but that's okay. Felix, the most important question before we start: soft or hard shell, please?
Hard shell.
Hard,
tacos.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we've got another hard one. Yep. And I will say, ask the question. What? Go on.
It is a dirty chai latte tonight. Nothing more.
Okay, dirty chai. He's got a dirty chai, and I've gone there
in an Essendon muscle.
Oh yes.
Mug. Yep.
Can I ask, when Bomber Banter brings out their merch or her merch, will you replace that mug with a Bomber Banter mug?
Of course.
Beautiful. That's what we like to hear. Hi, Jade. How are you? Love that you're here, and know you're going to be in the Guard of Honour on Saturday night. Is it Saturday afternoon? Well done. I'll look out for you. Steve, you did go the too hard. Well done. 4 soft, 2 hard. Love your work. Well done. Pete, Darren, Shelley. I love golf. Oh, well, we'll see how we go. Jeremy, thank you for being here. Richard, Craig. Hey, Frank. One or both? Yes, I mean, both is always good when it comes to tacos, but I feel very strongly that hard shell is where it's at. All right, let's get to it. Let's start. Let's get the crap out the way, really. And this is going to be the first slide that they bring up. Lock in, everybody, because this isn't pretty looking, but let's get to it. Essendon's deficiencies and priorities. So let's talk them through. Now, these are in no particular order at the minute, but we will rate them later in the show. So how do you see our current deficiencies? Do you think that's pretty much summing up where we're going wrong? I've got explosiveness at the centre bounce and stoppage, so speed and power to kind of exit a stoppage, quality. We've got a lot of those in and under players who can extract the ball in Caldwell and Durham and maybe Setterfield, but not many who can use it with speed and power outside of stoppage. I've then got elite foot skills going inside 50, and I felt the need to put the second line as elite foot skills coming out of 50 because I feel we desperately need both, and I think they're both pretty self-explanatory. And the fourth one I've put on the list is consistent two-way running and defensive pressure unconditionally. How do you see those things?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's quite a few deficiencies right now,
Yep.
and that's the fun thing about the draft. That's where you fix it. And yeah, a few of those, like you've got decent players to build around in some of those positions, like like the centre bouncers, the midfield. But you do just need like another piece in the puzzle, which is annoying because
Yeah.
we've got so many midfielders on our list and no one, you know, quite at that level. Durham has some explosiveness about him, but you'd like something else in there as well. And yeah, the bottom one for me is a big one, that the two-way running. A few of our midfielders do get kind of lost in transition a bit, so that's something that we need to fix up. I agree with all of that.
Do you think it's is this a combination of bad luck? So the players we've traded in the past or drafted in the past that we hoped to play or to fill some of those deficiencies, the current deficiencies, is it bad luck that they haven't just fulfilled that potential, or have we very severely picked the wrong individuals?
I think in the case of and I don't like to heap all of it on one player, but in the Elijah Sardis pick.
Yep.
Like in hindsight, there was, did we really need that type of player? Probably not. And you had other players around in that stage of the draft that could have, been really handy, like Cam McKenzie, and his foot skills would have been great. He was picked after Elijah Sardis. So yeah, I think it's poor drafting, 100%.
So just to confirm, what did we hope Elijah Sardis was going to be? What in the best possible scenario, what is he giving us right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've already got. Like, I think he's just a really good contest player, really clean hands, good clearance midfielder. But there's not heaps more, and I think maybe the hope was to develop his game a bit more than we had or have.
Yep.
But I guess that just hasn't happened. So he is just kind of that clearance midfielder that we've got a few of at the moment, which is pretty annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And okay, before we move on from this depressing slide, are there any very glaring deficiencies that you would now keep in mind? Everybody in chat, there are like probably maybe conservatively another 6 points I can add to that list. These were the main ones that strike me as being really profound deficiencies. Are there any other that you would put in that category, Felix, in terms of being a really, we must, if not look at it, this trade, then it's got to be on our radar in the preseason draft, mid-season draft, and beyond?
Yeah, not like a deficiency, I guess, and it's more because of lack of availability. But I do see the need for those kind of like 190 to 195 kind of lockdowny key defenders. We've got a lot of really tall backmen who when they play together, it's a bit iffy. So a deficiency we might have is just that range of defender that we don't really have aside from Jordan Ridley, who's injured every day.
Yeah. So that was going to be my next question. Is that now a deficiency because Jordan Ridley's body can no longer be trusted?
Yeah, and this was I saw Scott from the Lunchtime Catch Up podcast tweet about this just before we went live. About the Ridley out kind of narrative going around. It's definitely a deficiency, and it's something we have to work on. Does that mean Ridley in, Ridley out? I personally think we keep what we have in that key defensive zone while we have so many players down with injury there, and add to it. But it's definitely a deficiency. Like there are some zones which are just unfortunately there are deficiencies because of availability, which is never good. So on top of the deficiencies that we have in our game, you've got more added because of just the lack of availability going around.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that he's also one of the better ball users. So then that strikes out the third point on this list, elite full skills coming out of the D50.
Yeah.
So with him being unavailable, that's kind of striking out two potential deficiencies, or adding them, should I say, to the list. So, okay, so what about, we'll go through obviously some key players, but I've noted that there are not many key position players who are touted as, I mean, aside from the ruckman, as in the touted as top 10, top 15 picks. Is that strange?
Yeah, well, there's some key forwards, but it's just
But
there's no
not big key
real.
forwards, right? Like that one ninety eight,
There's
199.
yeah, there's a couple kind of around the range, but they're not like locked in there. Like it's a pretty even draft once you get past the kind of that top like 13 or 14 or so. There's a pretty even range from then to like 30, 35. It's pretty tough to split a lot of them. And a lot of those players in the, top 20 or 30 are key forwards that might not necessarily, reach the heights of the top 10 or so, but options for that second round. What's really lacking is key defenders. So there's
Mm,
maybe like I've two or three of note in this draft, and as you said, in the top 15, there's probably one key forward who's close to 2 meters tall, and that's Aiden Schubert from my hometown, from SA.
SA, very
Um,
good.
but
It's a
yeah,
couple
yeah,
from SA actually. Yep.
yeah, there's quite well. That's what really saved this draft was South Australia coming in and just
Oh,
looking as
okay.
good as
Nice
they
little
did.
shout out to the
Yeah, yeah,
hometown. Very
yeah. Well
good.
done.
Patriarchal.
Yeah. Nah, but yeah, there's not a lot of really high-end key positional strength, which I guess isn't exactly an issue for us because I don't think that's what we need to fix too bad, at least on one end of the field.
Yep.
But yeah, you feel like in other years there's always like a key forward or two in the top 10, and there's maybe only one this year, which is interesting.
Yeah, if that ever made us all think that Zach Reid is just an absolute priority spiritually,
Yeah,
mentally, physically, energetically, like he's just we just got to get him right. And I guess in that same
yeah,
vein, Ben Mackay too, because I still see him as just as important. And I can't believe the luck of it that they would both go down. One
yeah,
of him and maybe Ridley, okay, but both and Ridley, like it's I don't quite
yeah,
understand. And all I can hope is that next year the luck turns. But Zach Reid is just the most precious commodity we have.
yeah.
Anyway. All right, so let's move on to what we actually hold as at round 21, 29th of July, 2025. So, as we all know, results did go our way over the weekend. Thank you, St Kilda, and I guess thank you, Melbourne, for dropping your bundle. So, in the first round, we have pick 4, which is currently ours. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that could easily be pick 3 by the end of the season if Richmond win a couple more, which they potentially could,
Yes.
and looking like we won't win anymore. Thank you, Nazaya.
No.
Exactly, SJ.
Yeah. No, yeah, and Richmond are in good form. That's the interesting thing. So I mean, you don't want to finish too low down the ladder, but and you don't want to say the tanking,
No.
the T word, but I wouldn't
Yes,
mind. I wouldn't mind pick 3. That'd be a good pick to have.
I completely agree. And I think if we're going to be down there, we may as well be as low as we can go. We know we're not going to be at the
Exactly.
very, very bottom because of West Coast. So, and I very highly doubt looking at the Kangaroos next couple of games that they're going to be able to jump any further than 17th. So
No.
I think we could potentially end up with pick 3 and either pick 6, maybe pick 7 if Melbourne are lucky, but I doubt that. Now, in the round 2 is where it gets interesting. What percentage chance do you think these 2 picks turn into another first rounder?
Yeah, definitely a chance. We do have to get rid of them probably. Where I'd be surprised if we've got even one of them in the draft. And the good thing about this year's draft and the position we found ourselves in with those two second rounders is that the way the bidding system is set up, it makes those second round picks gold for clubs if they need to match a bid.
Why is
So
that?
picks 22.
Explain to us that those of us who don't know the draft like you do, what is it about the second round? Do they turn into higher points or something?
It's just the way the points are set up. So every pick has a points value, and for clubs to be matching bids on incoming academy players, you obviously don't want to do it with for us example, if we were to match a bid on Adam Swade at pick 21, we would need
Yep.
more than just pick 22 to get it done, even with the discount, I believe. But a pick
Oh,
inside the top 10 for these Gold Coast players picks 22 and 23 is pretty much the equivalent to, like a pick in the low tens or early teens. So there's 100% a world where we just get a trade done with a Gold Coast or Sydney or Brisbane or Carlton. They send over their first rounder, which they're not going to use because it'll get eaten up in a bid if they were to keep it,
Mm.
and we send
So
our
it's
second rounders
useless.
back to them.
So there's
Sorry?
literally no point. There's literally no point Gold Coast keeping their first round pick because it's going to get it doesn't even it's not going to even get them their academy kid. Is that correct?
No, yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, it might I don't know what the discount is this year. I think it might be 10%. So it might in
Yeah.
some cases, but it's not really worth it when you can do what we did last year, where you get enough points in, to get that done, but also maybe something on the side. Like last year, we didn't need to get as much from that Melbourne trade that we did. We sent away pick 11. We got
Mhm.
like 4 or 5 picks later in the draft plus a first rounder, and that's just because the value of a first round pick is higher than that of the later picks. But
Right.
with a club like Gold Coast who are so willing to trade away all the time because they have to,
Yeah.
picks 22 and 23 could easily turn into a first rounder.
And so hang on. How do we then get Adam Swede and Hussein? How do we then get enough points for our NGAs?
Yeah, that's why Rosa has a bit of work to do. But last
Ah,
year, I honestly thought that our pick 11 was just going to turn into those late picks and
yep.
just be the forbidding. But luckily, because Swade and Hussein are a bit later in the draft, it means it's a bit cheaper to get them. So you don't really
Okay.
need too much. It's not going to be as hard as it was with the Kako deal, where you need a
Right.
lot of points.
Mm,
But yeah, it can be anything. You can, split one of those. We can get a first rounder in, split it, like we did last year. Have a
mhm.
lot of late draft capital, and then maybe something in the future as well. Or we've got a few players, contracted players. I think we're going to be trading, so there's going to be a bit of that going on as well.
Yes, I forgot about that. As you can see at the bottom of this graphic, Richard. So yes, you're just suggesting that if Draper leaves, we'd get another first round compo. Yep. So this is just our current picks that we actually hold. I haven't done any foreseeing or looking into the future picks because, as Felix just mentioned, we may be trading out one or two anyway. So I've gone down the route of just talking about what we actually possess right in this moment. So, as you can see, we currently have 15 out of contract players, 47 on the list in total. Now, there's been articles, I think Jake Nile wrote the most latest one suggesting that we could look to off 8 to 9 players. Now, looking at that list right now, that seems a lot in terms of my first look. And so that tells me that there's going to be some favorites maybe who are gone in terms of maybe more experienced players traded or moved on, or some of these guys who you think might have got an extension that don't. What do you think when it comes to that discussion?
Yeah, so I've got a video coming out tomorrow. I haven't recorded it
Oh,
yet, but
okay.
I'm pretty much just going through the entire list and saying or putting on my Matt Rosa cap and kind of judging who I'd be offering a new contract to or delisting or trying to trade. That's the it's all well and good for people to just say trade Ridley, trade Parrish, but there is more to it. Like you got to think about the each position and everything and their value. And that does make it hard because a lot of our list just doesn't have much value anymore. But yeah, the 15 on screen there, I've been thinking about this for ages. It's hard to see how just from them alone we get enough to list spots to actually attack the draft. Like there's 15 players there. I think half of them get signed, and if not, there's going to be some really unlucky guys there. And Jake Niles said 8 to 9 changes have to be made. I think
Yeah.
probably more like 9, 10, 11. Like if we want to
Interesting.
attack the
Wow.
draft in a pretty big way. We've got 47 players on our list. We got to do a bit of work around
Yeah.
it.
And even if there's someone a trade that's not even taking into consideration any possible players that we can trade. So you know,
Yeah, yeah,
there's a lot of, as you keep saying, yeah, Matt Rosa, and I'm sure they have been hard at work because what we do find ourselves in, everybody, is an extraordinarily unprecedented, wonderful draft spot. No one can honestly, hand on heart, say that they picked that Melbourne would be this far down this year. No one can say that. I understand that a lot of people didn't have them in their top 8. I get that. But no one could have thought that they would be finishing anywhere close to the bottom 5 or 6 with the talent they have on their list. I had them just outside the 8 because I thought the off-field dramas was really going to, impinge on their ability to have that synergy and that spirit. But I tell you what, there is no way I thought that they'd be losing to the likes of Carlton and St Kilda and just crazy times.
Yeah, they're pretty crap, aren't they? Thankfully.
Unbelievably, inconceivably, I still can't quite believe, and it feels like a bit of a waste of talent, thinking about what they've got on their list. But
yeah.
I mean, what can we do, I guess? All right, let's answer a few of the questions that are floating around before we move on to the fun part of the show. Okay. Oh, hi, Sonia. Sonia from Noosa. Love your show. Speed and aggression would be good. Clark and Roberts are both the type we need. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, Cal, how are you? He says skills need to be the number 1 trait, competitiveness 2, self-starter number 3. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, there was a question. Oh, hey, Rick. There we go. How are you? He asks, do you think we should trade or keep Sardis? What's your take?
Yeah,
Felix?
I'm not to spoil my video tomorrow that I've got out.
Oh, sorry. Okay, if this is
No,
going to
no,
give
no,
it away,
no. I'll say there's more on there anyway that we'll talk about tomorrow. But no,
Okay.
I'm on the. I think it's tough because you want to develop these young players. I just don't see how we're going to develop Sardis in there. Like he's so similar to what we've got. If he's playing, it's because there's injuries, and we don't want to have to rely on that. And even this year with injuries, he wasn't playing. So I think it just makes sense for both Elijah and the club to just to get that trade done. He's still got value. I just don't think he's going to develop at Essendon. I think he's going to be a good player somewhere else.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, firstly, I think the writing's on the wall there with when we could have played him, we didn't. And secondly, I believe that Brad Scott sees it the same way, that we just don't have the spot for him. And he'd be certainly getting a game if he was filling a need that we currently have, or if he was performing his role better than somebody else in the role. So he obviously isn't. And as you said, it's going to be better for both. It's going to be better for him to go and get, try and cement a spot, and it's going to be better for us because we'll try and get something for him. And if he stays in our VFL program next year, his value is just going to continue to drop. So best we do it now for everyone's. That's my gut. Hey, Corey,
agreed.
how are you? You're keen on a couple boys that we are definitely have made our list tonight. So, Shaky Snake, anything from that mug, your mug, Felix, must taste disappointing. Yes, I know. All right. Oh, Steve has an interesting question. Could we trade Sardis to North for Duursma's brother, Zane? Ooh, who says no to this? North or Essendon, Felix?
They're in pretty similar spots, I guess. Probably North. Duursma was a lot more hyped coming in, like that. He's not really a pure key positional type, but more value in that position. So yeah, I think they'd probably say no. We probably have to give a bit more, I reckon, in that one.
Bit of a sweetener, you reckon? Maybe.
Yeah. And also, just I don't know if it's worth it. Like we've got a few key forwards around as it is.
Yeah, very true. Alrighty, everyone, let's get to the fun part. Now, Felix and I, mostly Felix because he's the genius, have compiled a top 6 list of the young guns kids who are just performing beautifully so far in the various teams that they've been playing. And they're the 6 who we think, we obviously have the 2 picks as it stands in the first round as it stands today. We've compiled a list of 6 who we think you basically can't lose out. And then when we go through them all thoroughly, then we'll all make, with your help in the chat and everyone watching, and Felix and I will make a decision as to who we think is going to, the 2 who are going to help those deficiencies kind of take a few off the list. Obviously, they can only do so much, but we're not going to put too much pressure on them. But for the sake of this exercise, Felix, I think we're just going to assume that they're going to come in and set the world on fire. We're going to raise them to Messiah complex, okay? Just for the
They're
fun
going
of
to be
it.
stars. Yep.
Exactly. Next Brownlow medalist. All right.
Yes.
All right. So on, let's keep on the Zane Duursma road, and let's bring to the stage Willem Duursma. He is a midfielder from Victoria. He is that big midfielder that we don't have, that we have struggled to draft in 191 centimetres. He's 18 already. His main attributes, would you say, are watching his highlights, I would say his main attribute is that versatility, that he looks comfortable wherever you put him. And the other thing that he plays very much like his brothers is he looks like he has that IQ. Not many players can be popped into or shuffled into specific positions and pick it up and go with it. As I discuss and have discussed with people in the fan cams, Lawal, and I think I did with you actually on the weekend, Lawal is one who's on the wing, and that's a spot where you really need to know your craft. You need to be switched on, and you have to know the intricacies of that rotation. Whereas watching Willem in games, it looks like he is so adept to just on the ball, like he's got the smarts to just click into another gear if he needs to.
Yeah, no, he is all. I mean, it's summed up by he was all Australian in champs as a key defender. I'm fairly sure. Now, he wasn't really playing as a proper key back, but that's just he can, and that's I think it's built because he's for quite a while now. Like I often see him playing on players just a lot bigger than him, and maybe that's I don't know. Maybe that's just his club's trying to get the most out of him, or setting up matchups that work most because of his size and his physical attributes and everything. But yeah, he is so versatile. He was playing across half back at champs. He's played up forward. I like him most in the midfield. I think that's where he's going to be a star. But it doesn't mean that's where he's going to end up. He's a pretty talented kid. This guy.
Yeah, and throughout all my investigations, and I tell you what, Felix, I reckon if you knocked it down, I reckon all this draft content is going to fall out in the last couple of weeks or so. I've been hearing your voice and Pommy's voice as I go to sleep at night. I've consumed so much draft content, but so watching all his clips and a lot of the YouTube content on Willem, and listening to people talk about him, the two kind of players who keep coming up, and I think Cal Toomey mentioned this one. He's been likened to Brendan Goddard, and then also Will Day, and that for me is like my green flags are going off when I hear those names.
Yeah, no, the Brendan Goddard I see kind of with his aerial work a lot because he's not like he's tall, but he's not like a key position player. But with his hops and his judgment, he can make him really dangerous in the air. Will Day, it's the way he moves is just very much like that prototype tall midfielder, that Bontempelli, Will Day, and he is just a classy player. There have been knocks on his ball use and everything, but it's kind of it's good without being elite, but that's kind of what Will Day is as well. Like no one talks about Will Day for his ball use. It's more just what he does to get himself in the positions to use the ball easier than others. I wonder the iffy thing about Willem Duursma for this discussion is whether he is gone by the time we're choosing, because he is just of all the players in this draft, I think for me he's probably the one with the highest upside. Like his raw potential, his athleticism, footy smarts, just he's a really special athlete and player, and I know there's been questions because of Zane and Zane's output at North, but I don't really see that with Willem. I think he's going to be. I mean, it's a talented family, but he looks like he could be the best of the lot, which is saying something because they're all pretty good.
Yes, yeah, it's certainly, geez, talent, good genes there. But maybe I should have procreated more, produced more offspring. But anyway, they did pretty well. They did pretty well with 4. But we don't know. Like the reason he's included here is because we could still slide.
Yeah,
we could still slide down, right? And B, who knows what we'll end up with? We might package 2 high picks to get pick 2 or something. So we don't know. So he's included in this list because you just never know. Okay, chat. So, okay, 2 questions I have with him, and it kind of falls into his deficiencies. First, do we think, because he's quite slight, he's obviously tall and lanky, he's obviously 18, so I know, but do we see him, because look at Xavier's body, it's not like he's filled out heaps more, but do we think he's going to put on much size, or are they going to keep him for his running ability, stay that lean kind of bean shoot frame?
Yeah, no, I think just because maybe the one thing that I've seen, which I think he can improve on a little bit, is just his general work on ground level in a contest. I think he's got lovely hands picking up the footy, but it's when there are those bigger bodies around him, which he's obviously going to struggle because he's a pretty skinny kid.
Yeah.
But that makes him more promising for me, if anything. Like there's quite a few big body players who they can't fill out much more than they already can. But someone like a Willem Duursma can only get stronger and more athletic. They know what they're doing at AFL clubs to fill them out the right way. Although in saying that, Nick Cox has been the same size since he joined.
That's that, but also does our club know what we're doing in the strength and conditioning department? Because I have questions.
Good question.
I have many questions. Okay, Frank has a question about Willem. What are his kicking skills like? So as you can see there on the slide, we've got his deficiencies as his contest work and ground ball effectiveness, which is what Felix just mentioned. We haven't spoken about his skills. What are his kicking skills? They're probably not something you would, ride home about, but I don't think they're bad.
No, I think there were some criticisms about his kicking. I actually don't really know where they came from. I think maybe because early in the year he was winning so much of the footy, there are bound to be some bad disposals. Like his first game of the year for Gippsland I think he had like 30 or 40, maybe like close to 40 disposals and a goal or two. It was pretty ridiculous. It's probably the most dominant anyone in this draft has been in a single game. But there were some bad kicks in there, and maybe because of just the pure accumulation and the way he takes the game on, maybe that's where this I guess narrative around his kicking came from. I don't think he's a bad kick. I think he's not an elite kick. There's not really many elite kicks in this draft, but he's good. He's serviceable.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And another thing, probably one of the amazing things that stood out to me watching all his footage was he's the kind of player that opposition would underestimate, because at 1 minute he's doing one thing and the next minute he's doing another, and also in position wise, 1 minute he's in one position, but then he's got the IQ to just be where he needs to be, fill a gap where he needs to fill a gap. And he can interrupt the opposition structure and system really quickly. I almost lost track of him in some points, because you think he's going to do one thing, but he's got the smarts to be where he needs to be. And I just saw his opposition get confused whether to go with him or whether to give him space. And he almost looks like he's running unopposed half the time. So I don't know if that's just part of his natural organic skill, or if that opposition just don't worry about him, because...
No, he is. I think he's just like one of the stars of this draft. I think because we're going to be talking about a lot of midfielders, there's daylight between Duursma and the rest. So if he is around for our pick, there's no reason why we wouldn't take him. Like it would just be the biggest no-brainer in history. It's just whether or not he's going to be around for that pick. If we slide enough, there's a few other really high prospects in other positions that clubs might prioritise. But if he's available for our pick, there's no reason to take him. He looks like he could be a gem of a player.
Okay. All right. Shaky Snake asks, is he a better kick than Xavier? That's a great question. Well done.
I mean, it's kind of similar in that Xavier's he's usually a pretty reasonable kick. He's prone to the mistake or two, and that's kind of the same with Willem. I wouldn't say better. I'd just say they're on a pretty similar level. They're both serviceable kicks, but I think Willem's got more weapons in his game that makes his that really stand out. That kind of make his kicking better, because he can get in better areas to dish off the footy because of his athleticism and whatnot.
Right. Okay. Yep. I think I know what Felix is going to say, because I think he did say that. But Rick asks, where if we settle him down, say we got him in a wonderful fantasy world, say we got him, where would you settle him down, I guess, in the beginning, and then ultimately where do you think? I think you already said that midfield position is probably where you'd love him to play, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, probably he could. Like the great thing is it could be anything. It's tough to know where he's going to play. He's that kind of unicornish type player. But yeah, you could settle him off halfback or a wing. He is really versatile. Like he could be anywhere.
Yep. Yep. Wonderful. I think I can certainly see him helping us attack a couple of those deficiencies, definitely. And of course, the most important question when it comes to him, what's his goal celebration? That's all that really counts. His brother has the bow and arrow. Yep. What is he running with anything or not?
I'm not
I don't
sure
know
actually. I'm
if
trying to remember because he
I
kicked a
don't know if
goal the other
Zane runs
week.
with anything.
No, I think the other week when he kicked a goal in champs, I think he was just pretty pumped up about it because he's been
Is
playing
this true?
defence for
Is
the
this
whole
true?
time as well.
Is this true, Jonathan? He does it crossbow, or are you having me on just because that's funny?
That'd be great. Oh, he
Hang on,
is. He
what's the
does.
hang on, everybody? What is the difference between a crossbow and a bow and arrow?
Oh wait, so is that true that he across the crossbow? That would be a bad celebration, but I'd like it just for the memes. He does go for Essendon though. I know that. So
Okay,
I think just because of Xavier, he does go for the Bombers.
okay, beautiful. Well, hopefully he we could end up with the pick to take him, or he potentially could slide. Who knows? All right, that is our first very very talented bebe. Let's go on to the second. His name is Harley Barker. He is a midfielder and probably more of a winger. He's at that nice, beautiful mid height of 180 centimeters. He's from your hometown in South Australia, one who's saving this draft, as Felix has claimed. Already 18. Now, this is the two-way running that I like to see in my players. This guy. Beautiful, terrific two-way runner with incredibly good breakaway speed. It's like magic watching him break away. It's like you see his head, his mind just tick into that speed and into that gear, and off he goes. He can hit the scoreboard because he works really hard, and he reads the ball really well. So gets himself into good positions, which is what a really really quality winger needs to do. I loved this comparison, likened to Mason Wood, and I think that if in him I can see you don't get that all round a kind of midfielder like you do with some others, but I feel like when you're good at something you do it well, and this guy strikes me as that.
Yeah. Well, I think I love that you started here with Duursma and Barker because Duursma might be too high in the draft for our range. Barker might
Yep.
be the other way. I've seen quite a few people rate him in the 20s. I love this
Oh,
guy. He is,
wow.
yeah, but I think that's because he has recently done his ACL, so I think he slid a bit because of that. So he won't be
Right.
playing much footy next year. That
Okay.
shouldn't be a deterrent. We've seen guys do their ACL and come back better and stronger.
Felix Felix at this point, what's one more ACL? He'll fit
Yeah,
right in at the
exactly.
Bombers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made me like him. But no, this guy is genuinely one of my favorite. Like I love this guy. It's the ability to play that wing role, that specific and challenging role so well. He completely changes games on his own, Harley Barker, and it's often not really seen. But what he does on the wing is incredible.
Yes.
His
Yep.
his work to
Love it.
find space. It's you don't really see it on the broadcast, but his work rate is crazy. He's got an
Yes.
awesome tank on him, combined with speed, and he always finds space going forward. It looks like he doesn't have an opponent in games because he's just always
Yeah.
in space using those long legs to drive, get the footy forward, hit the scoreboard, and he's also just good at the contest too, which potentially maybe midfielder vibes about him later on in his career. But no, I absolutely love Harley Barker. I don't know if he's going to be in our range, but again, we might be getting another draft pick in. Maybe in the early teens or something, and I'd be thrilled if we took Harley Barker with that because I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I completely agree. He kind of surprised me a bit out of all of the ones that I did a lot of investigating on and watching footage on. I couldn't find a real glaring deficiency for him. Whereas
No,
others, I could really
no,
identify
yeah,
something, and that's not to say that every one of these kids has to be an all-rounder, wonderful, perfectionist, and perfect at every single element of the game. But for this exercise, we're looking at their attributes and their deficiencies. And Harley was one that I couldn't really categorically say, yeah, oh, he's not a great tackler. Nah, he's not great defensively. So I've put down there future upside and growth. How high is his ceiling as his deficiency? Which, if I'm criticizing myself, I think that's a pretty weak deficiency that I found. What do you think in terms of where he could probably maybe take it to the next level? Probably that's maybe a better question.
yeah. No, it's I worry about his upside because I'm so like I just don't see anything wrong with his game, and you do want to see flaws in players. Like I think if you're young, a draftee, you want to have things to improve when you get to the next level. Otherwise, you're just going to remain stagnant. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
that's
there are
right.
areas that we just don't see that he's working on. But I trust him to be working on that. He's a really intelligent player.
Mm,
He just looks AFL ready for his position, which is such a tough position. Yeah, I
yes,
really like this guy. I don't have too many worries about him, even with the ACL. Like we've seen Taj Hodden for Richmond. Just same thing. Did his ACL in his
exactly,
draft year, and then he slid down the order,
exactly.
which made him a cheaper pickup. It can often
Yes.
be a good thing. Nick Martin, he did his ACL and missed his draft year, and now look at him.
Yes, great point. Great point. I know, Chris, you said you don't want an ACL with a first rounder. Well, it makes maybe sometimes helps. It helps the cause. But this is a good question from Doug. Does he play anything like Ollie Dempsey? I know that we already have a bit of an Ollie Dempsey clone in Angus Clark. Another one wouldn't go astray. What do you think?
I think he's got a bit more power than Ollie Dempsey. Not saying he's better. I just when I see Ollie Dempsey, it's kind of like he's kind of like a sneaky wingman, whereas
Yes,
Harley Barker's
elusive.
kind of yeah. Harley Barker's more power and just more noticeable when he's not on the ball. He can't do the miraculous things that Ollie Dempsey can do. He doesn't have that high end the footy attributes, the skills with the footy. But what he does, it's pretty good. I'm a big fan of Harley Barker.
Now, I don't know if you're going to know this question because I certainly don't know who it is, but do you know that? Do you know the question? Do you know the answer to that question? Any relation to Trevor Barker?
Trevor Barker, is that St Kilda? I don't know. I'm gonna guess if he's South Australian, maybe. But I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh, Doug. Oh, no, I think you corrected yourself, did you? Oh, Taj Barker. Is there a Taj Barker? I don't know.
Is Ard Barker the comedian?
I thought Taj Barker was a comedian. Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah,
Um, SJ, hopefully St Kilda Mason Wood and North Melbourne Mason Wood. Yes, absolutely, definitely,
yeah,
most
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, we should clarify that.
Well,
St Kilda Mason Wood, yeah.
thank you for clarifying that. Definitely, definitely. Okay. All right. So Harley Barker as a possible sneaky chance. Next up, we have a popular man, one who I enjoyed very much watching his highlights. Next up, Josh Lindsay. He is a defender slash midfielder. I've put the midfielder word there because I know that gets discussed a lot. He is 183, already 18 as well, from Victoria. This kid has the most elite kick, the most like I don't think I watched one and I didn't just watch his highlights. I watched full clips of games so I didn't get skewed or overawed or I didn't get flirted with by his highlights, and I don't think I saw him miss a kick. I saw people drop marks but I saw him make good
Yeah,
decisions and kick so beautifully and so like the weight of his kicks. I don't know how he does it under pressure, but he even does it under pressure. It's
yeah,
just, he's another thing, unafraid. He is so supremely unbridled confident. He has this unbridled confidence in himself to make those kicks that is so composed, and he's just unafraid to kick through a zone, take that dangerous option. It's like he has laser eyes. It's like he's got the protractor in his eyes and mine, and he's measuring up in his head, and he knows how to weight it and how much strength he's got to give to a kick. I mean, I don't know that I've seen it I watch a lot of football. I don't know that I've seen as good a kick as him for a very long time. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
juniors, but you all understand what I'm saying, right?
He's a lovely kick. And the great thing about that is that this draft is really lacking in ball use.
Yeah.
There's not many good kicks of the footy in this draft, and he is just by far the best. I think if you chuck him in last year's draft, this is something I was thinking about whether we rate him higher than because this draft is lacking so much in ball use. But I think he's just such a pure kick of the footy. It kind of reminds me of the other day I was watching Calder Cannon's
Mm.
Kobe Buick play, and he hit up a target inside 50, which and it was a really risky kick. But the
Mm-hmm.
target that he hit was so clearly worried about what was coming behind him. So as you said before, players drop marks. So he kind of shirked out of the mark because he thought something was going to come behind him. But
Mm.
with Lindsay, and the same thing will happen with Buick as he becomes more familiar with the team. But with Lindsay,
Mm.
there's this element of trust around him. So a player
Yeah.
that even if there's a kick that's a bit above their head, it could be they could be making themselves vulnerable for someone coming through. I think they know that they have the trust in Lindsay to pick out that pass and make the right decision. He is such a fantastic kick of the footy, and that is exactly what we need. This is the guy I want the most, I reckon, Josh Lindsay. I think he'd be well liked at Essendon.
Yes, I think mainly because we are so lacking in that classy kick and ball use, and to add to that, the decision making.
Yep.
He makes the right decision, and even if you think it's the wrong decision, he'll just make the kick work. That's what I felt like.
Yep.
I felt like, oh, don't.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm like, don't take that kick. You can't take that kick. That's too dangerous.
Yeah.
But he just makes it work. It's really, really enjoyable to watch, and you don't want to put too much pressure on him, but he they all have their strength, and in his case, this is where his deficiency comes into it. Is he one dimensional? Is it kicking or bust? Like, I didn't see so much in the footage I watched. Like, what's his defensive side like? What's his defensive accountability like?
Yeah, that is the question. Because I don't think he's glaringly bad in any one area, but I find it really hard to I guess compliment Lindsay and not discuss his ball use and just his footy
Yeah,
smarts. I think I don't think there's anything there's no glaring weaknesses in his game, which is you'd want one you'd want something for him to really work on, like one big deficiency. But
yeah,
I think at the moment, the big worry, and this is because he's so highly rated, and you always have to be worried about these highly rated players. We might just be completely wrong in thinking this, but the worry for me is that there's nothing else outside of his ball use and his kicking, which is
yeah.
probably wrong, but it's because his kicking's so good. My mind goes there.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I kind of went as well in trying to think about, I couldn't really gauge. It was something I just couldn't gauge from watching some of his games. I don't know. I don't know one way or the other if he's a great tackler or if he's good defensive accountability, because your eyes just truly go to, as SJ says, elite kick. It would be a true Essendon unicorn, absolutely. Shaky Snake has another good question. If we got Lindsay, what does the future hold for Mason Redman?
Yeah, I mean, kind of different players, but I think Redmond should be more scared of Clark, to be honest. They're the ones that are pretty similar, and even Johnson. And I think when Lindsay does come, because Redmond in defence, I personally see Lindsay as a midfielder. I can see him playing in defence to start his career. That just makes sense because he's playing there so often now. But I don't see why the club wouldn't try and develop him into a midfielder, as that back of
An
the
outside
stoppage
mid?
kind of. Yeah, like back of a stoppage, wheel onto his left, and just
Mm.
open up his own. That's what I see Lindsay personally, but I can see either way. Him in defence, him in the midfield, it just makes sense.
Yeah, and I love that out of all of them that we're talking about tonight, he's the one who has that physical maturity right now, he looks like he could come in and play more than any of the others. So if you were looking for that extra class round one, touchwood injury wise, he'd be the one that I reckon you could start off straight away. So
Yeah, he can play straight away.
yeah, Scotty, yeah, absolutely. Coming off the Dogs, getting 80 points. Oh my God, I can't even bring myself to read that out, that sentence, because that makes me feel nauseated. But come on down, Lindsay. Yes, absolutely. Can't agree more, really, reading that out. Yeah, that's another good question. Is Lindsay aggressive? He's aggressive in his ball use. What's his mannerism like?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I think back to Lindsay, because I've watched a lot of him. I'm
Yeah.
only ever thinking about his ball
Yeah, I
use.
know, because your eyes just go there.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, you're right. He's aggressive with his ball use, and he's like he's not scared of the contest or weak or anything. It's just not really a strength, I don't think, his aggression.
Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't be worried about that. That defensive
And as
side of his game too much.
And as we said with all these kids, they can't be everything. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they're polished and exceptional at one thing, I would like to hope that development wise, we have the ability. There's a big question mark on our club, but clubs have the ability to, polish them up in the other areas where they're not exceptional.
yeah.
Adam has a good question. I like this question. Can he kick on both sides of his body? A lot of lefties don't have a right foot. I can't answer this. I didn't even notice. Felix?
No, I think it's I think I've seen him fluff one kick on his right. And the thing is, the style of player he is often in space. He is often hand pass receive. He's got time. There's not too many contested kicks, like contested possession kicks a game. And when they are, he's really good at being able to wheel onto his left and put himself in a position to use on his left. So you don't see him kick on his right much. I'm going to assume he doesn't have much of a right foot, but I mean, neither does Zach Merritt, and that doesn't hold him back too much.
Beautiful. Yeah, well answered. All right. That's exciting, but let's move on to the next kiddo. Oliver Greeves. Now, I apologize, Oliver, if you're watching. Uh, as I've said already, I have gone through that much draft content, and 50% have your name Greeves, and the other 50% has your name as Greaves, including a article on the AFL website from Kaltumi. So I don't know
Oh,
what to think.
really?
For the purpose of this exercise, I went with the guest I have with me tonight, and he has it as EVES. So that's what
I
we're
might,
going with tonight. But I will
I might
say
be
that it's
wrong.
not. No, it's not just you though. 50% of sources I saw had it as EAS and some as EE. So who knows? But he is also a midfielder. Again, he's also that big-bodied, the taller midfielder, and also bigger-bodied, 191 centimeters. Another Victorian kid. So he is that bigger body. He's a bull. He uses his strength and his size. He's also got pretty precise foot skills. Not as good as obviously, Lindsay sets a really high bar. But
Yeah.
one thing that I love about him is he does have that two-way running work rate. He doesn't just hunt the ball. He chases hard and applies strong defensive pressure. So this really, really, sings really loud to one of our main deficiencies. I don't know about you, but I loved watching this kid. I could have watched highlights of him all day. He really is, and that likening player who you likened him to was one who I couldn't agree more. He just is exciting. He is one of those bulls who you can't take your eyes off.
Yeah, and something that's always in the back of my mind when I'm looking at the draft, I'm looking at at the young players coming through. If there's a big bodied player, I'm always really hesitant to rate them highly. So at the start of the year,
Yeah.
I wasn't really that big on Ollie Greaves because a lot of the time it can just be a bigger body, like a man's body going up against a bunch of twigs, like we saw with Will and Duursma.
Yeah.
But as the years gone on, I've seen so much, not improvement, but I guess just strengths in his game that isn't just his strength, his muscle.
Yes.
His hands are so clean. His ground ball work is really good for his size. He is
Mm.
genuinely a decent kick. Like you look at big body players that they're rarely that strong and that clinical by foot, but he has penetration, which I like,
Yes,
and he likes to move. He can genuinely play on the outside, which I think is important. You don't want to just draft an inside midfielder. We kind of did that with Elijah Sardis, but I think
exactly.
Ollie Greaves has that inside out combination for his size, and also can play multiple positions. Or he has played multiple positions. He was playing off half back, I think, in the first game for champs. So I
Yeah.
see him as a pure mid, but at least when he rests, he doesn't have to do it on the bench. He can do it in another position or even impact down back if we need numbers. So yeah, he's a pretty hype prospect.
He also reminded me a bit of Matty Rao, just the way he attacked the contest, and a
Yeah,
bit of that kamikaze type style. I don't know. He just, yeah, sometimes he would bite off a bit more than there was there. But I just love the endeavor. Like I didn't mind. It was in a way that I didn't mind if he was
yeah,
going for it, like because he threw his body at the contest and wasn't afraid of it. And I think somebody also said it was Adam here straight away. A big inside bull is what we need moving forward. Save the cash chasing Harley Reid and take this kid. Well, could this be, not a like for like? Because obviously we know that Harley Reid is going to be an absolute star. But
yeah.
could this be a second best option?
Yeah, 100%. If we wanted an inside midfielder, a big ball, this guy's going to be around. I don't see any of the teams above us going for him because they don't really need him.
Yep.
But yeah, this guy will be around, and he is the. Oh, I was going to say he's the best inside midfielder of the draft, but I'd probably get a bit of criticism for not mentioning Mr. Dyson Sharp, who I don't even think we're talking about tonight. But yeah, I see real weapons in his game and a bit more upside than Dyson Sharp. Myself personally.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you said that he has gone from strength to strength, and you've been able to see that, that
Yep,
rise and that development. And I think that's super important because it shows
yep,
that he has the ability to take feedback, to look at his deficiencies and actually work on them, and then has the stamina and the determination to get better. And I think that is a trait we also lack as well. Justin, I'm not aware of this. Felix Greeves is linked as a Hawthorn NGA. Is he really?
they applied to have him in
Oh,
there, but the AFL rejected it. So no, he's in the open draft.
yes. So no
Yeah,
issue
same
whatsoever.
thing with Cooper Duff Tyler. We didn't apply, but it's the same story there pretty
Oh,
much, where he is almost eligible, but he's not.
okay. That's very interesting. Shaky Snake, with so many left footers in the middle, a good right footer is an asset, gives options. Thoughts? I
Yeah,
like it. I like.
yeah. Well, and it's his kicking isn't like his major strength. I think
Yep.
he's a good kick, but for me, it's just that point of difference with that size that I like so much about him in the midfield. And he does have penetration, like he can just get the ball, chuck it on the boot, and see it go 90 meters into the forward line.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Yeah, he's much better, and I probably think he's a bit more polished than Does personally. I think that's where Does can fall down sometimes. He's so aggressive with his movement and his intent and his energy that sometimes he's so tired, I guess, exhausted by the time he has to dispose of the ball that he can fall down in that area. But I think the
Yeah.
endeavour is certainly on that Does level. Just picture with a bit more polish. So for me, that's exciting. All right, that's Oliver Greaves. I hope I've got that spelling right, Ollie. All right, next.
I think you have,
Sam.
by the way. I looked it up.
Oh, good. Oh, good, good, good. Sam Cumming. He's another midfielder. As I said, there are not too many key position players up high, but he's another South Australian and 186, also already 18. Now, he is that contested ball winner who just thrives at the coalface. He is a classic inside midfielder. Who just loves the contests, puts his head over the ball. He's the kind of guy who I think when I watched, oh shit, his mum will be watching will have gone to all of his games wishing that he was wearing a helmet because he has
Yeah.
absolutely no, he doesn't worry about his head or getting too hurt. He's see ball, get ball, but work rate and repeat efforts was something that stood out so much watching his vision. he kind of had that Caldwell attitude where if he stuffs up or he doesn't get that first one, he's going just as hard at the next one. So, and of course his tank is only going to grow and grow and grow. So, a relentless runner. I found him to be a bit of a tough matchup one-on-one because he is a very good mark as well. And for his size, you wouldn't necessarily think he's got great aerial ability. But I did find that very interesting about him.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good shout actually, because I hadn't really thought about it, but pound for pound, he is pretty hard to beat in this draft. I think I think that, and this, he doesn't really get talked about too much. I don't think Sam Cumming, like
No,
he does,
not
but
at
he
all.
doesn't. Like it's. I think it's the SA thing. I think,
But also
the
Felix in division, like I had to actually do some hard work finding a lot of vision of him.
yeah, yeah, and that I think is because it's. I guess those who watch him closely in champs and everything, you see him and what he does, and it's exciting. But it's not that that Josh Lindsay eye catching like wow. I think
Yes.
with Sam Cumming, he's just so ready for footy. He's just as I said, pound for pound, he's really tough to beat. He's one of the I don't know, he just puts a smile on your face when you're watching him. And if you
Yeah.
want vision, I don't know if there is vision of it, but I recently watched him the other week play for North Adelaide in the Sandford, and he was just as you said, he was just going in. He was going in so hard for
Yeah.
everything and getting absolutely
Poor
pummeled, and
mum.
then getting right back up. Yeah, exactly. No, I told you the main comparison going around is Isaac Heaney, but you said it before.
Beautiful.
When I see this guy, I see Jai Caldwell.
Yep.
And maybe that's a bit of a step back in a way, because do we want to draft someone that we've got a few of? Do we need another Caldwell? But I think Sam Cumming is just such an exciting prospect, and he's just a joy to watch. He'd be a fan favorite because he just goes in so hard, and he's
Yeah.
so tough. This kid.
He's
Yeah,
that cult figure. Think that
yeah,
cult figure like Durham is. Everybody
yeah,
loved him. Like you rarely hear somebody getting on Durham's back for his, you know, disposal or his work rate, because everyone loves the kamikaze endeavor. And this kid
yeah.
is exactly what you get. And as I said, all I can say is his poor mama, because I tell you what, should be watching him like this a lot of the time. And dad, of
Yeah.
course, his mum and dad. He's he goes in hard.
He
Richard
does. He
asks,
does.
are Vic clubs reluctant to recruit WASA boys?
I mean, I don't think the Bombers are. We've got a few. We're bringing in some WA boys because of Rosa. I think it'd be good to have some SA kids in. I don't remember if Sam Cumming played in last year's champs, but to have that connection with Angus Clark and Redmond, I think it makes sense to be going interstate in this draft. I think it's considered so weak because I think Victoria's lagging behind a bit this year more than usual, which is pretty big
Mm,
because most of the footy comes out of there. But there's a lot of SA talent. Like they won champs for a reason. They absolutely
yeah,
smashed it. There's
yeah,
some really good players in SA this year.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Doug, I think you're right. That's a great description of him, an atomic bomb. Yeah, yep, absolutely. I think so. I mean, as you can see, we really scraped the barrel for his deficiency. It's,
Mm,
accumulation, and for me, I thought to myself, in order to go to that next level and to, does he get enough of it? As opposed to being that in and under tough contested ball winner, does he also get enough of it as well
yeah.
and accumulate enough of it? And maybe he doesn't have to, is my thought. Like maybe he doesn't have to be the
No.
guy who accumulates it.
No, well, he was great in champs, getting around like 15 in that 15 to 20 disposal mark. It is hard to find a real weakness. I think
Mm,
his stats don't jump out to you on paper, but there's kind of a bit
that's
of
right.
Durham about that at times where he does have those like 18 disposal games, but they're just so powerful.
Yeah, it's more about,
Mm,
and yeah, shaky snake. You're absolutely right. Love the idea of getting another guy who goes for it super hard. It's because it sets the tone, and that's the big part about it. He'll make his teammates want to stand taller, like Durham does in those moments where he's just putting his body
yeah,
on the line. It's as you say, defines a bit more identity for the team week to week. Yep, that's what this
100%.
guy did for me. Watching him, you could see his teammates watching him and being inspired and energized by it. And that's what we get from
Yeah,
Caldwell and also Durham. So yeah,
Yeah.
he'd be a hard one to pass up for mine, just because I can see him straight away what he would be culturally for a club in the way he goes
Yeah.
about it. But
Yeah. Agreed.
lots of decisions. All right, last one in terms of our top 6 that we've got here, and that is this guy who, after watching hours and hours of footage, I have heard his name said in so many different variations.
Oh,
It is Sam, I think, Grillge,
yeah.
Grill.
Yeah.
The commentators have no idea. That's something I learned because I
Yeah.
heard different commentators saying at different times. So, Felix, can you please confirm how this guy's name is pronounced?
It is Sam Grill.
Grill. Okay. So
Yeah.
like a grill on a barbecue, like grill in that
Exactly.
regard?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sam Grill, another midfielder. He is probably the shortest of all of them we've spoken about tonight by maybe 1 centimetre at 182. I think he does turn 18 by the end of the year, but I've got him at 17 here. Another Victorian. His key attributes, well, one thing I did love was the competitiveness of this guy. Beautiful lateral movement, and you know, the lateral movement just bodes so well with the leg speed, because he'll take a really quick, left, dancing step, and then he's off, and then the afterburners are off, and he looks like he has real athleticism. He's explosive. He's probably the first deficiency I had on the list in that, explosion from stoppage kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Really fun to watch. I love watching this guy.
Yeah.
Really, probably the most. Would he be? Yeah, I reckon he's probably the most exciting of the prospects, because there's also
Okay.
that little bit of, you don't know what's going to happen when he gets the ball. Usually he
Okay.
does good things with it, but I think when you're that explosive, that quick, just by nature, that attacking, there can be some wacky moments, and of course he's only 17, 18, so that's bound to happen. But no, he's a really fun player to watch, and I think the reason why I put his name forward for this was because. I think there's maybe where our midfield is a little bit one-dimensional,
Yes.
and it would be cool to have some leg speed in there. And I think
Yeah.
if some other prospects are maybe gone by the time we're picking, that Sam Grew would be a great backup midfielder to have for that, just that pure raw leg speed.
Yeah, his lateral movement and leg speed reminded me of
Yeah,
what Dylan Shield does for us.
yeah. Or prime
Just his
Dylan Shield. Yeah, I get that.
prime
But, yeah,
Dylan Shield.
yeah,
The movement, just the movement of his body. Forget Dylan Shield's ability to dispose of the ball, but that think of his first 2 steps and the
yeah,
ability to evade an oncoming opposition. Think that's what this guy brings. And of
yeah.
course, you've likened him to Zach Butters, and that's an exciting comparison with it. Now, I didn't personally love, and you've pointed that out, and it was very obvious, that composure with the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe I watched some of, a bit too much footage, and I should have stuck to his highlights, because I saw a lot of, decision making, and that affecting his ability to distribute the ball. So for me, that probably pushes him down a little bit further in terms of, probably after even after Barker, even though I know Barker is probably Harley Barker,
Yeah.
is probably one that people would have in the 20s. How much do you think that's something he can work on versus how much it's going to hold him back?
No, it's interesting because the way I see it, and this is, you got to get it right if you're developing players. You've got a player who is just by nature so attacking, so fast, maybe not composed with the footy, but if he can brush up on that and work on his foot skills more, be a more, even just a slightly more efficient player, he can break games apart, and he can do it off halfback, I think, as well, which is really exciting.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a bit of a risk with Sam Grill, because
Yeah,
it's not a, you can't bank on him.
yeah.
But if you get it right and you can get him playing good footy, he can be a really dangerous player.
Yeah, and stuff I read about him, and I read an article from a past junior coach of his who, they were just speaking above and beyond in regards to his leadership and his culture driving abilities. So they all see him as a leader in that pack. So, who knows? Frank thinks that's what we need: explosiveness and lateral moving. And what's his kicking like? Yeah, I think that his kicking ties into that composure. I think when he's got an extra second or two, he's quite, efficient and effective with the ball. But under a little bit of pressure, from what I could see, yeah, his decision making and ability to distribute can be effective. But that's also something that can be worked on and developed. But I hate saying that because I'm like, isn't that what we said about all these players? They can work on it, and
Yeah, it's good to have a big floor, but when you're Essendon with quite a few players who like to dump kick, it's a bit
that's
scary.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Scott sums up here. Are we getting the McGrath or the Max Holmes?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful question. Like that is what the question here. And I think we're all a little bit burned. I think we're a little bit traumatized when it comes to that. And that's no disrespect to Andy McGrath because we know he's a wonderful human. But risky, shaky snake. Absolutely. Or wouldn't we all like to just forget that? Works weekends at Bunnings because he's grilled. Yes, I get it, Moby. Very good. SJ, the nickname that Kaltumi has for him is the Sizzler. I see. Righto. Dennis asks, do we need another small mid?
Yeah, that's the question as well. I think he has a point of difference compared to the others. I think his difference to our current midfield is probably bigger than Sam Cummings, even though I think Sam Cumming is a better prospect. So that's the interesting thing. Do you go on that bankable Sam Cumming player who's going to be that you can tell he's going to be a good player, even though he might kind of clash with some other positions, or do you go with someone with a bit more risk but has that point of difference with his leg speed? Good question.
Yeah, great question. I enjoyed that. Moby, very good. I expect this kind of gold from you, my friend. I do. Love it. All right, so Sam Grill ends the top six that we think are, right up there in terms of Essendon, would be on, in the top echelon on the whiteboard that Matt Rosa has. We'll quickly talk about our two NGA guys who we know are coming 100% to our club. The first one being Adam Swede. So we know he is a small forward / midfielder. He is the smallest, obviously, that we've spoken about so far tonight in 175. Victorian, obviously, 18 already. He did just make the All-Australian, what was that for the champs, Felix? The champs. Yep.
It was.
Yep. The All-Australian teams. That was a wonderful. This guy, the footage, he just makes you smile in terms of players making you smile. He's exciting. He, out of the two of them, he is the one that just makes you drool and makes you think that he is going to play straight away. You set your eyes to the future and see Kako on one side and Sweetie on the other, and it makes you so incredibly excited. He is exactly what I've written there at the top: multi-layered threat, offensively, defensively, inside and out, and to have those capabilities as a small and I would think already made is we are lucky. That's all I could think of watching this guy. Fuck, we are so lucky we've just strike gold with this, that we get him. His work rate is exceptional. Repeat efforts I loved. Is never content to lose a contest, to miss a tackle, and you'll often see him receiving multiple possessions in a chain because he just has that work rate to be that next link up player. So I mean, he's got everything in terms of deficiencies. Again, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Felix mentioned size-wise in order to play midfield full-time, but I see him as so exciting as a small forward. Do we even need him as a midfield option?
Yeah, I guess it's interesting because I would like to see him play more in the forward half. We did. Who did Vic Metro play? I don't know. He had a game where he kicked 4 goals. I was live streaming it with Dylan Alexander. Shout out if you like the draft, go check out his content.
Yes, Dylan is wonderful.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And before the game started, we were having this conversation. We were saying, Swade is just a joy. He's
Yes.
fantastic, but is he going to is he going to be that 175 centimeter midfielder? We want to see him play up forward, and then he goes up forward and kicks 4 goals. Yeah, he's great. He's an absolute joy to watch. I the same emotions I feel watching Sam Cumming are the emotions I feel watching Adam Swade. It's just you feel happy watching them because he just hunts. He loves the contest. He loves body contact. He's just such a fun player to watch. I think there are question marks over his size, and I'm always going to have those until I see him at AFL level, just because we don't. It's a bigger sport. You're playing against men, not kids. But
Mhm.
his attack, his attitude, just his willingness to get better and better it's yeah. I have no faith that he's going to give it a go at AFL level.
Yeah, and even for that small defender type, he's 175, but Kako is also 175. I mean, small
Yeah,
defender, small forward type.
yeah,
Kako is also 175. So if it means that he doesn't um, eventually end up in the midfield, I mean, I'd be okay with that because he's such value up forward, and if that does
yeah,
pigeonhole him up forward just purely because of his height, when we say size, it is purely the height because his body in terms of he's pretty filled out. I mean, obviously he
yeah.
can
He
bulk
is.
up a
Yeah.
little bit, but he's pretty filled out, isn't he?
No, he's strong. He's
Yeah.
deceptively strong. Like he fends off. Like he's really tough to go up against in the midfield because he likes to fend off. He's genuinely got really strong hips and a strong center of gravity too
Yes.
because of that size. So it makes him really
Yep.
hard to contain. Um,
Yep.
I had a point, but I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I could also say though, on a separate point. He hadn't played footy for a while. He did his ACL in July of
Oh, he's
2023.
another one who's going to fit right in.
Yeah, but he came back after a long rehab. After missing, that 16 to 17 age is really important for AFL development, and he missed that.
Mhm.
I hadn't heard much about him before that, and then I was talking to some Calder Cannons people, and they started, bringing up the name Adam Swade because I knew about Hussein before the year started, but they started bringing up the name Adam Swade and talking about him more and more, and then he just exploded onto the scene, and he's been getting better since then, and it's that rapid rate of development that is really exciting because the faster these kids develop, you don't know when they're going to stop. It's kind of like
Yes.
who's a player like a Max Holmes almost who comes to the draft a bit late and ends up just getting better and better and better.
Yep.
There's a bit of yeah, it's pretty exciting to see someone just get good so fast at footy.
Yeah, and I will say in terms of his size, it won't hold him back personally. He'll make sure he's the kind of guy who plays, and this is just I get this from energetically reading and feeling from his body language and how he plays the game, but he won't let that hold him back. If that's what's holding him, it feels like he'll find a way. He wants to play AFL football. He wants to live out this dream, and he'll find a way to do it in terms of not letting that be the reason he doesn't play, his size. And I loved that about him. I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he excites me, and part of the reason why I wanted to do this show is yes, we're going poorly at the moment, but this guy is. I know you can only talk them up so much because they're kids, but this guy is going to be pretty much how excited you were for Kako. This guy will deliver exactly that. And yeah, absolutely very, very excited for him. Uh,
yeah,
Scotty says, good point, Felix. Normally you get better in the second year back after an ACL as well. So, yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, and all the more reason to not avoid those Harley Barker
Yes,
types who've done their ACL.
absolutely.
It's scary, especially if you're an Essendon fan. But Adam Swade's done his ACL recently, and he's going all right.
Yep, yep, absolutely, exactly. And another one that has that ability to have shown that do you want it bad enough to keep going to next level? Do you take
Yeah,
feedback well? Do you have the ability to grow and to and to be tested about
yeah,
how bad you want this? So is it going to be your size that people are going to look at you and think you're not going to make it? Well, no, this guy is not going to let it be, and that's what I got from him. So very, very exciting. The next guy who we definitely know we're going to have on our list is Hussein Al Achkar. Now, he was an iffy one for me. I'm unsure. There's a question
Okay.
mark in terms of all the footage I watched. You've watched for sure heaps more. What am I missing in terms of Huss?
You know what's really interesting about that is that I'm probably a bit more unsure about Adam Swade. Like, and that's I
Really?
think, yeah, that might be a bit rare.
That's good.
I think both of them are at very even stages of the draft. I think they're going to be taken pretty close together. I think what I like about Hussein is, I guess, he's pretty much locked down as a small forward. You know exactly what he's going to be when he comes to the AFL. He's a really high impact, low disposal player. So he doesn't get too many touches in the game. His stats might not look amazing. He'll have like even his first VFL game that he played for Essendon, he had 4 disposals across the whole game, but 3 of them were goals. So
Yeah.
he doesn't get the footy much, but a lot happens when he gets the footy, and that's what I really like, and what recruiters really like about small forwards of his caliber, where because you can't really teach impact a lot of the time, like just that natural game changing impact, but you can teach a player to win the footy, and if you can get Hussein winning more of the footy, it's just going to make him a better player.
Yeah, and I did like about his game and his intent is he brings teammates into the play, and that's something that I
Yeah,
think is really important for a small forward. He doesn't necessarily hunt the when I say hunt the goals, hunt the glory. He's more than
yeah,
happy to bring teammates or others into the
yeah,
play, and I did really like that energy about him. He's
yeah,
obviously his attributes are quite obvious for a small forward in his great anticipation at the fall of the ball, which is what you need. Absolutely, that great crummer kind of reads the opposition. Ball taps really well, and yeah, as I said, creates opportunities for those around him. I mean, I froth at who you likened him to because he's one of my favourite players to watch, and that's Isaac Rankin. So if he can show anything like that guy, I'd be pretty happy. And this guy, yeah, absolutely is small forward size, like
yeah.
in a meatball. Like he is Darcy Byrne-Jones. I don't know how I'll have to look at how tall he is because I don't know that there's too many others who are that short. Um,
No, yeah, that is pretty tiny actually. Now that
that
I
is
think about it,
small for the
171.
AFL.
Yeah, but
After,
that's
especially
that's Nick Watson's like similar size. So yeah.
yes, yeah. Is it Darcy Byrne-Jones? No, at GWS. What's his name? The
Well,
guy who wears the helmet.
yeah, Darcy Jones.
Darcy Jones, not Burn Jones.
Oh,
That's the
there's a
Port
Burn
Adelaide
Jones
player.
and a Jones. I never thought about that. Yeah,
There was a Burn Jones. Yeah, I thought there was.
yeah, yeah,
He's a Port Adelaide player. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's in terms of size wise, this guy is So do you actually think he'll go higher than as we stand right now? Do you think he'll go higher than Adam?
Well, no, I don't think he'll go higher. It's
Okay,
so it, me personally, if I was picking, I'd probably like if I had to pick one of these players to bring in. Oh, that's tough actually.
go on.
Well, well, I mean, I think it's you got more upside with Adam Swade because he's had that layoff with the ACL and he's gotten so good and his rate of development is just it's increasing.
Yep,
Whereas Hussein has been doing this for a while. He was playing colder football last year. He had bags of goals. I just love what he gives inside 50 with his shots and his involving his teammates. I think he's such a natural small forward, which we don't really have aside from Kako.
yep.
Um, I think they're going to go in similar stages of the draft. I think I did a ranking on my other channel, AFL 101. Go check it out. And I think I had Hussein 1 or 2 picks above Slade. Like they're in
Okay,
such similar ranges of the draft with their development and
interesting.
everything.
Interesting. Yes. Okay. Well, so Hussein is 171 and Nick Watson is 170. So they
Oh,
are
there you
basically
go.
this same height player. That is small
Yeah,
for a footballer.
yeah,
If it's
yeah.
any to sum it up, I'm 167. So, like, I'm 167 centimeters. So that is small for a footballer. And Craig
Yeah.
also notes that Darcy Jones is 175. So not even as small as Watson or Alechka. So, but still very, very exciting. And, pure joy knowing that we're going to get him. Yes, solution. He's absolutely going to be winning. Oh, where'd you go? Winning the limbo comp each year. Absolutely. Yes, definitely. Jono asks, could he get through as a rookie?
No, I don't think so. I think there's maybe one small forward, or I guess two if you count Swade as a small forward, better than him in the draft. I'd say no, I don't think he gets through as a rookie, unfortunately.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Unfortunately, would be helpful, but Shaky
It
Snake
would be
asks,
helpful.
is he quick, explosive enough for AFL level? Question mark for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. It's not. I'd say
But
explosive, just because of his bash and crash type. I wouldn't say quick. So I think Kako has that pace. I think Elachkar has more craft about him than Kako does. And I think he's
okay.
got more of a desire to win the footy. Even in a game recently, there was a moment where the ball was on the ground, like there was a tackle, little pack. The umpire was about to blow his whistle, and Hussein, without even thinking, just like tries to grab the ball out to get it on goal, and gets taken high in the process. And that, I was thinking about that moment, him doing that, just that will to win the footy, even when no one around him is trying to, and
Yeah.
and getting a reward for it. And that's something that I don't think many Essendon players on our current team have. And I think it's something that both Huss and Adam Swade do have. They go in tough, both of them, which is good.
Yeah. And Dennis makes the point. Both boys are an upgrade on Menzies and Davey, which,
100%.
and I would
I
add Gresham to
actually,
that too.
yes, I was about to say, I would say Swade is playing the role that I think Gresham is or Gresham's playing the role that I think Swade will play next year. I think
Yes,
I'd like to see
spot
Swade
on.
come into the team and replace Gresham pretty much straight away. No offense,
Yeah,
Gresham.
Moby, spot on here. Kako, Swade, and Huss, catch us if you can. Exactly. Exciting amount. Question: I didn't ask you when we were talking about Swade, but how's his ball use in terms of going inside 50, his delivery? Because the footage I watched was mostly he was up forward. He was a bit running through the mid, but mostly up forward. So I didn't see much of his disposal. What's he like?
I think it's more his. Would it be decision? I think it might be more decision making, which allows his ball use, which isn't elite, to look better than it is.
Okay,
Maybe I think
okay.
he's a really crafty player, and he knows where he wants the ball to be. And whether or not it's a perfect drop punt getting there, it might not always be, but the ball does usually end up where he wants it to be, which is usually in a good spot.
Yep. Okay. Yep. This is a good question from ASAC Schrader. Are Swade and Huss currently good enough to be debuted round one like Kako, or will they need some time to develop in the VFL? So round one, 2026, we've got all three available. Gresham's gone to Richmond. Menzies, Davey are no longer on the list. Guelphy's in the rehab group. And who else am I missing? I think that's about it. Yeah. Are
Yeah,
they playing,
Gresham. Yeah.
or are we just going tall and with Kako?
Um, I think you, or who's more ready made? I could see Huss playing straight away.
Okay.
Um, if he fixes up his conversion a little bit. Um, I could see both. Yeah, I think if we're rebuilding, like it's not like we're trying to win a flag anyway. I think if we're trying to win a game of footy, I'd probably go Jade Gresham now. But I'd rather see these guys, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, at this point, I think we have nothing to lose, and it's only going to help with the rebuild and accelerate.
Yeah.
Look what giving these kids this year, giving them opportunity. Just forecast your mind to next year and think about what this opportunity is going to be doing for them. So,
And also,
all right. Well, yes.
sorry, just on
No, go for it.
Hussein and Swade, and this is
Yeah.
something that is pretty cool going on. So you've got last year you had Kako and Caddy who were best mates with well, not best mates but close mates with Zach Johnson as well, who went to
Yep.
school together. So they're all connected. Hussein and Suede are both in our NGA because of their Lebanese background, and I'm fairly sure that they're very close, or their families are very close. So they're
That's
really good
brilliant.
mates as well, teammates as well. Hussein
Wonderful.
played with Kako, so you're getting like as the years go on, you're
Oh,
getting
love
all
it.
these players who have played together and are all mates, and I think that's going to be really valuable, especially because they all look pretty good at footy as well. So
Yeah,
that'll be
that's
fun if
just
we
a
can have
little
a
added
team
bonus.
just yeah, because they're just going to be more connected if they're up and about winning and all just close mates. So that's fun.
That was a question on my list actually. Have how much footy have they played together, and is that gonna go some ways in ticking that a little bit of that box that we know is so difficult to achieve until you actually get them on the park together. Look
Mm,
how beautifully Kako and Caddy already kind
yeah,
of sync. As best as they can when playing AFL, there's already a little bit of a connectivity there, and
yeah,
I'm sure if you popped Harley Reid in there and Zach Johnson in the forward line, I'm sure there would be another level of connectivity. But I think that's another little tidbit of excitement that will add to it, and we'll see that help. And
yeah,
you see how elated Kako and Caddy get for each other, and I
yeah,
just
yeah,
you'll see that with them as well. So
yeah, hundred
absolutely
percent,
love
hundred
that.
percent.
All right, before we get to a game and then finish up, let's just look at a couple of. Anybody else have any other broader questions? I'll start with Craig. What does it mean for a kid like Unwin? And then Dennis also follows up with would have liked to look at Unwin. I do note he's on the injury list, I think, or he's not going to, that came out today, or that he's not going to be playing VFL again for some reason. But where do you see, what does this mean for Unwin, given that we've got to the end of the year, he hasn't debuted, we haven't seen him, he's not setting the VFL alight, he's not knocking down the door for Brad Scott to bring him in. Where do you think this
Yeah.
leaves him?
I mean, and I've got before I forget, remind me after I answer this because Craig did ask me a question on Twitter that I got to answer
Okay,
as well.
okay, great.
But Unwin, I mean, I feel like Unwin's kind of in that mold of like a year behind on development anyway, which isn't a bad thing.
Mhm.
But he's such a skinny kid. He is naturally gifted. Like you watch him with ball in hand, his little sidestep to get onto his left. He's a really classy player with the ball, but he does just look like a 13-year-old out there. So I think he was always going to need another preseason to show something, which is good because he's got that national draft contract that runs out next year.
Yep.
Um, I mean, if he's good enough, it's not like they're similar players. Like, he's a very different player to Huss and Suede and Kako, so he could fit in. Uh, not even necessarily in the forward line. He's been playing wing in the VFL a lot lately. So if he's good enough, he can still fit in the team with them. But yeah, he needs to put some size on first because he is a twig.
Yeah, yeah, he's absolutely a twig and doesn't look to have grown too much from my view. I
No,
mean, I have to admit, I haven't really seen him in person. I know you haven't because you're based in South Australia, but you did go to the VFL. But last time I went to training, it didn't look like he'd grown a lot in size. But
yeah,
yeah, so I don't know if that's gonna kind of hold him back. I do have also a question from Michael on Twitter, and he says, "Can you please discuss the best defender in the draft? Fingers crossed about Ridley's durability. Redmond has also been disappointing, and Reid and Mackay are injury prone.
yeah.
Michael thinks we definitely need one. As we've gone through, a lot of the top talent is not defensive, back in the back line. Is it worth holding on to, those second round picks we spoke about in order to get one a bit later?"
Yeah, I think we will, and that kind of ties into Craig's question a bit too, which I had forgotten about until you said that. Um, uh, the defender, yeah. I think we do need to add to our key defensive stocks. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the first round. I think there are options late in the draft as well, which kind of ties into Craig's question about the steals of the draft. So
Good
I'll,
question.
I'll kind of link them. So as for the key defenders, Xavier Taylor does feel like a bit of a steal inside the first round. I feel like he's probably going to go, probably well after pick 10. But he's a really good key defender, kind of like kind of like Jordan Ridley a bit in that he's, I look at him and his main strengths are his offensive work from defence, but also he's pretty reasonable locking down. I like Xavier Taylor. I like a steal for me, a big one. Is Max Condagianis. So he's a teammate of Xavier Taylor, really similar player, 190 centimeters, so a bit smaller, but just so pronounced and so just eye-catching around the footy. Another really good defender who, often playing on forwards taller than him. So there are definitely options. There's an Elliot Duffield from SA who's good. As for more steals from the draft, if we were to miss out on a Ollie Greaves or someone, you've got Riley Onley in the later stages, who's a big body. Um, yeah, there's a few players around. Xavier Bammett is another one I really like. Really
Okay.
hard runner who's a bit of a big body too. So yeah,
Yep.
those are a few of the potential steals for Craig, and also the defenders kind of tied in as well.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. Squidsty. I just tuned in, but what's your thoughts on Jacob Farrow? That name's not familiar to
Yeah,
me.
that's a good shout. I forgot about Jacob Farrow. Nah, he's a West Aussie, like I'm gonna say midfielder, but he's mostly played defence this year. I can see him being a midfielder. Another good ball user. So if we were to miss out on Josh Lindsay, maybe
Mhm.
we act on a Jacob Farrow who can use the footy really well. Not on his
What's
left
his
boot, on his
size?
right boot.
What's his
I'm
size?
gonna say, without really knowing, kind of between 183, 188. I think around that
Okay.
stage. Yeah,
Yep.
so not tall, but not small.
Okay. Yep. That sounds pretty good. I mean, some kids are going to slide, so you just don't know where you get them. Jono asks thoughts about the ruck conundrum. I assume he's referring to the ruck, the Draper, Bryan, Goldie, Visentini ruck circle. Is that a circle? Yeah, that's a circle. And
Yeah,
what you believe? Obviously, the ruckman in this. What's his name? Kyle Cooper.
Duff Tyler. Yeah.
Duff Tyler. He's obviously going to be pick number one, we think, outside of the academy. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
probably.
Yep.
Yeah, him, Duursma, Sharp. It's hard to really know. If he's available, I don't even know if we necessarily go for him, just because he's not really the position we need, unless Draper leaves. I don't know, maybe, but it's
Is
it's
there a
it's tough to
world
really.
where West Coast actually do take Duursma?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to know. Like, I think if I'm West Coast, I'm picking. They do also have that Oscar Allen compensation, probably. So,
Oh shit! Yeah, forgot
uh,
about that.
yeah. So, I mean, you could take like a Duff Tytler and a Duursma. I don't. I'm not a huge fan of Dyson Sharp, but I could see him fitting in pretty nicely at West Coast. I'd hope. My personal hope would be that West Coast take Cooper Duff Tytler and Dyson Sharp, just because that unlocks more possibilities for us, I think.
That would be getting a bit creative, I think. SJ 2150. Essendon has a proud history of Indigenous players. Are there any Indigenous boys on our radar? Great question.
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of the talent is just it's unfortunately just decreasing. I don't know. I don't know too much about why. But
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like the AFL is putting too much time into it, because I feel like every year there's less and less options um from the Indigenous pathways, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Because you do
It is
yeah you do need
so
that excitement in the
disappointing.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, and just for the culture and the linkage and the history, it's so important. And I can't believe as years have gone by and we've gotten better with, you know, with communications and our ability and the various pathways to keep that connection and the chemistry with the culture and with the community, that we've actually gone backwards in the number of
Yeah.
Indigenous players playing for the AFL. I cannot
Yeah.
compute that. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
make any kind of sense to me.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, I believe Ollie Greaves may be in Hawthorn's. I think he might have been in the NGA because of his Indigenous background, but he was also declined access. So maybe it's not.
Mm.
It's I don't know too much, but yeah, there's not much Indigenous talent this year, unfortunately.
That is really sad. Hey, man without plans. I think you've got plans, not without plans, because I think this is a great plan. This would be smart. This would be really smart for West Coast to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, fair enough. I hadn't even made that connection, to be honest.
Man without plans.
Yeah.
I think you need to update your little name there, because I reckon you got plans on plans on plans. That is some outside the box thinking that I love here on Bomber Banter. Well done, you. Yeah, I mean that would be just a little tidbit of to keep not to keep Harley Reid happy, but just as a little extra crumb. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Solar YT top 2 pick for Oscar and Allen is so crazy. It really, really is. I don't
Yeah.
think Oscar Allen is better than Draper.
No, I don't. No. But I mean, we complain, but I mean, we might get a high pick for Draper. I think Cara Wilson before we hopped on said he was leaving. I'm not going to trust anything from that show,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'd be getting pretty good compensation for Draper, I'd say.
Yeah, okay. All right, Bomber Boy, how you going? What about key forwards? You still think we need a 128 to 200 centimetre forward? I mean, are we assuming that Jerine doesn't come on? Are we assuming that he gets cut, or what do you think in terms of that? We've got Caddy. I'd probably agree with you, Bomber Boy, if we hadn't drafted Archer May.
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah. I think we've also, we've got like 8 or 9 key forwards currently. And a few of them we don't know if they're going to come good, like
Yeah,
Edwards with his ACL and Langford Jones and everything, but
that's right.
it's there are a few good key forwards around, like Archie Ludowick. Mitch Marsh is someone I really like. He's an SA. He's kind of like Nate Caddy a little bit. He's undersized but so athletic, so damaging. He's a pretty talented kid, Mitch Marsh. He might be around our range, and he might be best available talent, and we just have to pick him because he's so damn promising. But no, he's really talented.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. We've had some impingement to the plan.
Really? Don't
Have they really?
no, hold up.
Who and where is this information dropped? We don't know
Don't
this.
tell me that. That's just ruined Essendon's trade strategy. What are we gonna do?
Oh no. That also ruins it for us. Oh no. Okay. Well then, West
I
Coast,
don't think
you better stay away, because Frank even coming through with the Duursma and didn't break up with Miss Duursma. Oh my goodness. Okay.
wow.
We need
Wow.
the goss. Anybody has confirmation of this?
Yeah.
I need dates. I need dates of when this happened. Pommy the legend has joined us. How are you, Pom? I'm hearing your voice in my head, listening to all your draft stuff.
Is Pom in the bath? That's the question.
Yes, Pommy, are you in the bath? If you weren't tuned into the fan cams on Saturday, Sunday, Friday, whenever they were, Pommy was joining the chat from the bath, and there was money and petition going to get him calling on to the live chat from the bath. He did not oblige. I still haven't let go of the dream though. So, here we go. Shaky Snake, it came from Jasper on the flight plan last week. I'm assuming this is about the breakup.
Oh, gee. And he knows his stuff. That's it. That's confirmed.
Wow. Okay. Right. All right, let's go to something happier. Let's play a little stupid, ridiculous 2-second game. The game is the newlywed game. For those of you who don't know, the newlywed game is I ask a question, and then Felix and I both have to write our answer down at the same time to see if we think the same or not. There is no right or wrong to this, and it's okay if we think differently. But the first question is going to be, I've got the priorities up there, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1, now chat, you go too. So when I say go, put your number in the chat. Not yet though. In terms of priorities, what do you see? Here's the question. What do you classify as the biggest number 1 priority if the draft was tomorrow? What do you classify as the biggest priority in terms of taking a kid who feels this priority? So number 1 is a 2-way runner, endurance beast. Number 2, elite ball users. So think inside 50 out of that's number 3. Number 2 is explosive midfielders. I'm so sorry, chat. Elite ball users is number 3. And number 4 is mature leaders and cultural drivers. All right. So when I count to 3, everybody write your number 1 priority down. and we'll see what we all think. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Are we showing? Oh, no, okay, we're not.
Not yet. All right, I've just written mine down. All right, we've got. Sorry, solutions pop another number 5. Functioning hamstrings. Yeah, sorry, I didn't add that to the list, but that's a good one. All right, getting lots of 3s in the chats. Lots of 3s. Oh, okay, only 3s. All right, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll turn them. All right, Felix.
All right.
1,
yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Hey! Yeah.
Okay.
And is that the right way around?
Yep. Is mine the right way around?
Yeah, yours is, but mine just it is not. That's what I'm scared about.
Actually, you know what? Mine's backwards too when I see this, but I think it's not backwards.
It looks. Yeah, no, it looks fine.
All right, so I think, well, there you go. Has everyone from Essendon ever been in agreement? We're all in agreement. We need elite ball users. Okay. Second question is, out of all the kids that we've discussed, if the draft was tomorrow and every single kid that we've discussed tonight, all 6 of them are available, who are you picking? So here is just a review. Here is a review of who we've discussed. We have discussed Willem Duursma, Harley Barker, Josh Lindsay, Ollie Greeves, Sam Cumming, and Sam Grill. Now, every single one of them is available. The draft is tomorrow. Write down who you're picking. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Write it down.
Like their name?
Their name, yep. Everybody in the chat, who you going? Now, keep in mind, they're all available. Tough. It is very tough.
Oh, don't judge my handwriting, by the way.
No, it's okay. In the chat, lots of Lindsays. We've got you've got to pick one, Dennis. I'm very sorry. No fence sitting in the newlyweds game. Very sorry. Moby, you're going Greeves. Another Lindsay. Yes, Scotty's going Duursma. Matthew's just going whatever Felix says. I mean, that's a fantastic strategy. I might do the same. I'll get him to turn his paper first. Greeves for Ant. We know you love Blackiston, okay? Blackiston has no siblings, I don't think. Duursma, Stephen's going Duursma. Another one for Greeves. Cumming, yes, I love it. Miller's going Cumming. Harley Reid, yeah, not an option, Solar. My apologies. Trish thinks Silvani. No, he's not in this, not available either. And lots of Lindsays. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. You and me, Felix. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so hey! I'm 50-50 though, because I love Josh Lindsay. I think he's great, and I think he's exactly what we need. It's just Willem Duursma's like a different breed in my head. But no, it would be Duursma then Lindsay. Okay, well, I think absolutely by this, the overawing theme here is, or the overwhelming love is very much for Greeves, Willem, Duursma, and Lindsay. So I'm thinking if one of them is gone, if one of them is gone, there's a bit of love for Cumming, and I'd be pretty happy. But I think those 3, if we can come out of them with 2 or one of those, I'd be pretty happy. Hopefully 2 of them. I mean, we still have the ability to drop down in the pecking order, and who knows what other clubs are going to be wanting and doing. But let's go to a question from Pom. Question for Felix and everyone. The lads you've got NGA suit need for speed and skill, but are you looking at the modern day method of unrestricted and established players, or hit the draft? Good question, Pom. Take it away, Felix. I'm reading that in his voice in my head. You have to do it in the English accent. Yeah. So what was it? Speed. I think we hit the draft. I think hit the draft. I mean, I do think we need to add leadership somewhere, and just availability with senior players. Whether that's like a Liam Ryan or a Brandon Starcevich, I'm not too sold on them. But I think we need to keep developing the young players and bringing more in. We're not going to be contending anytime soon, so we need to keep adding to our list for the future, I think. Yep. All right. Now the last question of the Newlyweds game, and then we will finish up. All right, where's my little slidey here? Here we are. Okay. There are 15 out-of-contract players on that list. Everybody and Felix, how many from that list will be
on the list in 2026? Put your number down. I don't even know who I'm. All right, let's see.
All right. Wait, sorry. Not
Ooh.
on the list or on the list?
No, how many do you think will be on the list in 2026 out of the 15
Okay.
there? How many of those
All right.
boys are starting at Essendon in 2026? Put your numbers
Okay.
down, chat. This is tough.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Right,
like think of
if you're Matt Rosone, you have to make the decision
all right.
tomorrow, by the way. All right, I'm going. Oh, there is this one's dividing the chat. This one's dividing. We've
Yeah,
got
it's tough to be
9.
fair. It is tough.
Dennis is going 10. Richard, you're going 9. Don Corwell, how are you, friend? 7, 6. Oh, Anna's going 8. DK 2002, you're going 2. DK, excuse me,
Yeah,
I
who are
need
the
to know who are
two?
your 2. You need to tell me who are your 2, please. Lockie's going 9. Wow, Ant 4. Okay. 5, Miller 5. Corey going 6. Patrick's going 6. Ooh. All right, are you ready? Felix, you and I are ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready?
Yeah,
1,
yeah.
2, 3. Oh, we're
Wait,
going
I
very
can't.
different.
Oh, you
Who's
think
it?
there's going to be a proper clean out? To be fair, I mean, there needs to be a bunch gone.
All right, tell me. I'm interested in your 8. Who are your 8? I'm
Okay,
counting.
all right. And you got to tell me your 10 though.
I will. No, that's
Or
5.
your
Yeah,
5.
5.
Sorry,
Yeah.
5. Yeah. I'm thinking about it on who I'm getting rid of, right? So Davey, Shield. These are like just the main ones. Davey, Shield,
Hang on, is
Laverty,
this who you're culling
Menzies.
or who you're keeping?
Getting rid of. I'm culling
Okay,
these
okay,
guys.
okay,
Davey,
okay,
Shield, Laverty, Menzies, Goldstein. Those 5 are gone. All right. I don't see how they stay on.
okay.
And then I think, I mean, you've got another few there who are just kind of tied in together, like Hobbs and Smart. I don't know how we keep both of them. I think one of them has to go. And then there's like Lawal and even guys like McMahon. Like we've got so many key forwards. Like McMahon just might be unlucky. I think yeah, I think there's going to be a few guys unlucky. So I've gone those 5 gone, and then a
Okay.
couple more on top of that, leaving us with 8.
Okay. Yep. I do like your thinking. I've gone really like
No, I'm gonna hear it.
cutthroat.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
I've gone so
let's hear it.
cutthroat, probably very opposite of my personality. But I'm thinking we need change. You know why? I think it's because going through these kids and the draft, I'm so excited, and I'm thinking that maybe we can get
Yeah.
upgrades, possibly. All right. So my 5 were Pryor, only because of his last month. He has redeemed himself in my eyes.
Keeping.
Yeah, keeping.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was about to come for you. I was about to be mad.
Yeah, don't worry,
Okay,
Felix.
good. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm in a different state to you. Don't worry. I know I'm not getting, but I will admit, in the first 12 rounds, he was gone. I had him on the delisted
Yeah.
truck and packed.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he was
But
pretty
the
poor
ones
on
I'm keeping: Pryor, Blackiston, Lawal, Vizentini, and Draper.
Oh, Nick Bryan gone. Okay.
That's assuming
yeah.
Draper stays. That's assuming Draper
it could be
stays.
either. Yeah. And
Yeah,
if
so
Draper leaves, I'm guessing Bryan stays.
correct. Yeah. And look, in that, again, I was being very cutthroat. Smart, I would love to potentially maybe see another year, or maybe we don't need him because, we've got those 2 NGA boys, but I also think it would be really harsh on McMahon. But again, I've gone the cutthroat.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, but I have to go back and see who DK 2000 has picked. Because he's picked 2. Here we go. Here we go. He's gone Draper and Bryan. The others can seriously take a hike. Wowee. Okay, that is, not as cutthroat as me. Absolutely. Yeah, Frank, Sardis is not out of contract, my friend. He would require a trade. I believe he's got 1 year remaining on his. Stephen, Felix keeps copying me. I mean, that's all that means, Stephen, is you have the mind of the great Felix from Everything Essendon. Whilst I'm on it, if you have not checked out Everything Essendon, please head over to his YouTube channel. Aside from his dulcet tones that you get to listen to, he just comes out with the absolute facts. No la-di-da, no extra mayo. It's just facts about, AFL and Essendon. Man without the plans, although I'm calling you man with the plans, Smart can actually hit a target by foot, so I prefer him to Hobbs. I mean, they play different positions, but yeah, I get it. Pryor's like Ambrose to you, Fiona, beware. Oh, he's got some ways to go before he reaches Patrick heights, Scotty. Let's just say that. Man without a plans has come back with another question. Does anyone know anything about Taj Robinson? Felix? I don't. You?
Yeah, I like Taj Robinson. Probably not in our sights. He's a key forward for the Calder Cannons. Really good attitude on him. He can take a big grab and kick a big goal. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Okay. How is he for size?
Big.
Okay.
Not sure how tall, but he looks built. I don't know if he gets drafted, to be honest. Like he missed out on champs. He hasn't really been tearing it up or anything, but he's playing good, solid footy. Like he knows how to play the sport.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. See, this is DK2000 says of something I'm quite fearful of. This is what scares me a bit. We have to delist everyone out of contract because no one is going to be buying the contract of Gresham and Perkins. That's got to do. I'm a bit fearful of this, and I would add to this list, Felix and chat. I would add, Langford and Parrish if they end up being on the trade table because, I mean, you probably would bank back a Geelong to get Parrish right, for example, but I don't know if we're going to be getting anywhere close to, especially in Perkins' case, what we paid for him in terms of draft capital.
That is exactly because my video tomorrow. I've kind of got the decisions made in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, Parrish and Langford are two that I would potentially be moving on. I'd be keeping the injured key defenders, like the Ridleys and the Reeds, but Parrish and Langford I think are worth trying to get something back for.
And Langford? Sorry, was that Langford or Parrish?
Both. I think both. Okay. We've got depth in both those areas. And I think Peter Wright's showing. I guess because he's not getting injured, but he's showing a lot more this year. So I think we persist with him a bit more than Langford. I love both those. I love Parrish and Langford though, so it hurts to say. Yeah,
it does. It does. Yeah, it really does. Look at you coming out with the facts solution. That's unlike you. There are 5 ruckmen on that uncontracted list. That is insane. Yeah. How do we end a season with 5 ruckmen on the uncontracted list? I mean, they've restricted free agents, but they're technically out of contract.
Yeah, not a single ruck that we have is contracted, which is I think that's fun. That gives Rosa just a clean slate to do whatever he wants now with those rucks. Yeah, but I don't know how that's really possible. Is that Dodoro? Is that Rosa? I don't know. Is it poor planning? Is it amazing planning?
What a great question, chat. Who's in the poor planning team and who's in this is great planning and gives Rosa lots of chess pieces to move around the table? I probably don't love the idea having them all five of them on out of contract at the same time. So I'm probably erring on the side of that's probably a little bit too close for comfort for me.
But I don't want to criticize Rosa. That's our Messiah right there.
That's exactly right. Where will we be? Where would we be if we start criticizing Rosa at this point?
Exactly.
He's all we've got he's all the happiness we're getting. But anyway, all right. A last few little bits and bobs. DK2000, and this channel is therapeutic. Well, I'm glad, and this is why I wanted to do it because. The remaining 3-4 weeks, whatever the hell's left of our season, is not going to be all too great. But we do have. I wanted to remind you all that we do have some light at the end of this very, very long injured tunnel. So there is something to look forward to, and we love the club, and we all just want it to kind of get better. So whilst I'm on that trail, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. Obviously, I've mentioned everything Essendon to subscribe and give all the love there, but also please do so on this channel as well. And if you quickly hit that like button as well, would be wonderful. I think we might leave it there. Felix has given us a lot of his very, very precious time. I thank you greatly, Felix. Thank you so much. I have absolutely thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I hope it's been a little bit of fun too. I know you say you absolutely froth talking about the trades and drafts and everything in between, but you've been very generous with your time, so I do thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'll always say yes to a draft chat, so we can do this again later in the year if you want as well.
Yeah, you might not want to say that to me, because I absolutely will take that invitation and take you very much on. But thanks, Pommy. I mean, coming from you, that is just the highest bar, absolute highest bar that we could reach to, right, Felix?
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, sorry, Assassin, you just got here, but the good thing about live YouTube's it's uploaded straight away. So just join in the fun next time, as Felix he's just invited me, given me an open invite to get him back here for another chat. We'll definitely be doing one. We'll definitely need to be doing one. The mid-season one was the mid-season meet and greet with our drafts was so popular. So maybe we'll do something again once the draft is done and dusted, a meet and greet of the players we actually do trade for. So you're very, very welcome. Mariella, thanks you for being here. Moby, thank you. Ant, thank you. Aaron, appreciate it. Thank you again, Felix. And everybody, I will see you as per usual Thursday night for the team selection chat. And we'll go through all the changes. I know it won't be that much happiness there, but there's still games of footy to be played. So I will say goodbye to you, Felix. Thank you so much for being here again, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Farewell. Thank you, everybody.
See you, Felix. See ya. As mentioned, chat, I will see you team selection show on Thursday night at 7:30. Hope to see some new faces calling in and buzzing in to have a chat with me. Pommy, heard a rumour there's a new show starting this week. Sources say it has chocolate and more mauve. Maybe it's got to do with some Twix chocolate bars that you all know that I love very, very much. We'll see how we go. Hey, Pom, maybe you should join me for the show. What do we think? Do we want a Pommy and Bomber Banter collab show? That could, although Pommy is very busy. But anyway, alrighty, I'm going to get myself off for a nice warm shower, and then what am I going to watch tonight? What am I going to watch? Oh, actually, has anybody watched the Assassin show on Stan? Very good. If anybody loves the thriller crime, genre, I highly recommend. I'm pretty sure it is called Assassin. It's got the guy from that The Good Doctor show in a bit of a different role. So I highly, highly recommend. It was brilliant. It's called The Assassin. Brilliant. Get onto it. All right. I'm off. I'll see you all Thursday night. Thank you so much for all your support, everyone. I'll see you then.